Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Brightworks. I know we're covering the same map twice in a row here, but I really feel like it's fair to show you what this map actually looks like with some water, because it definitely does change the way that this game is played here. We're going to be taking a look today at The Ditch Remake version 0.5. A little bit funny to go for a version 0.5, right? Feels like you would start with 1, but anyways. I guess we're indexing from 0, huh? We've been building our arrays in C programming, apparently, and we're going to start from 0 here. Representing our blue team and spawning all the way on the eastern side. It's going to be some old guy coming in at 47 true skill. I have a feeling this is probably somebody who's been around in the community for a good long while and has recently changed their name. However, I'm not up to date with who it should be, so maybe if you know, leave it down below in the comment section. Wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if we see a diverse dialogue up in the spectator chat today. We have 33 spectators that watch this game. You can see the whole list right down here. Yeah, this was a pro lobby game that was taken from one of the pro lobbies here, and as you might be able to tell, some of the very best Beyond All Reason players are making their showcase today. I think it's going to be an excellent match. Spawning over on the northern section of the western side, representing the red team, spawning as a Cortex commander and wearing a Viking hat to boot, it's going to be Pro Randy. Going for that triple metal extractor into a whole bunch of wind turbines here into eventually a vehicle bay. Makes a lot of sense. You're fighting over a lot of big open ground up in this northern section up here. You've got a lot of open flat terrain as well over on this middle area. You're going to be fighting up and down and in and throughout the hills. I think those vehicles make a whole lot of sense. Screwish has gone for a bot lab here instead, though. Excuse me. Apparently prioritizing those ticks over anything else. Well worth it. Those ticks are very, very fast, very maneuverable, and more importantly than anything else, they're cheap. You can get a whole lot of them out there and you can get tremendous value out from them. I believe I've shown you here and there on the streams, which are on Tuesdays and Saturdays, by the way, in case you're looking for something to do, hang out with the Brightworks community, or just watch some fun games of bar, or even play some fun games of bar. You can always come hang out with us on those streams. They tend to be a whole lot of fun. We like to mess with the settings and play some interesting games, so if maybe you're a little bit bored of the tedium of the standard gameplay, maybe that will be something that you're interested in. First contact. And here it is. Like ships in the night. They pass without a word. Well, maybe that's a bit too dramatic. That Blitz did scratch up that rover a little bit here. Yeah, rover's being microed now, trying desperately to find an opening here, but I don't think that High Gain is going to allow it. We need to see an LLT to guard this choke point right here, and then another one over here wouldn't be the worst idea. Just making sure that at the very least there's some way to keep these scouts from peeping at your base. Obviously, denying that scout means that no bombing runs are going to be targeting you specifically, or at the very least an unscouted bombing run is going to be much less effective. So although it seems like not a whole lot, denying these early game scouts can be very, very important. We do have ticks that are kind of just sitting around over here. I'd love to see this tick moving forward. Some old guy does have an AFK tick over here. Old fella must be running out of APM here. Lost his tick over on the other side of the map, but I think eventually it's going to be cleaned up. Well, a couple of rovers did find an opening. Okay. I'm not sure. They must have snuck past the commander there. Uh-oh. Yeah, well, now they're in the back line. Let's see what they can find. Switching into the vision here of X Factor Live. Going to get a nice little scout off on the orange player's base. Snipes a metal extractor too, that's quite nice. Definitely not Prof. I have a feeling that's definitely not Professor Barb. Going to be trying to help out his orange teammate here, but man, another metal extractor here for this rover. Starting to become very, very efficient, this little scout craft is. Yeah, these things can really do some damage pretty quick, huh? Pop goes a wind turbine. Only takes a little bit to chain react all of these. There's the bombing run. All right, that's exactly what that scout is perfect for. And now you can see that dark green bomber supplying a healthy dosage of whirlwind bombs directly to the base of definitely not Prof. What a bummer. Now we can see the intricacies of the naval battle here as well. Our maroon player Pyrotech has gone into a naval facility and is starting to pump out some of those expensive Cortex naval vessels, the frigates over there. We already have a couple of goons, the hovercraft, that are pushing across the map, and I guess this is a decent opportunity for me to say, forgive me if I missed something in this matchup today, because I know it's going to be a whole lot of action, and yeah, with the pros playing like this, I'm sure this is going to be completely jam-packed full of action all over the place. I don't know if I'm gonna miss some fights here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. Gunship out now to deal with the goons. That's quite interesting. Not the pinnacle of solutions, I would say. Better than nothing, but not perfect. Oh, somebody stealing a little bit of metal there. That's unfortunate. No hotkey needed. Accidentally eating up some of the some of the metal here for ski bat. That's pretty unfortunate. Meanwhile, no hotkey needed. His entire base has just been ravaged by a whole bunch of goons. The air player here getting shot down by a whole bunch of these goons. The gunship's eventually cleaning this up, surprisingly. And eventually, that aggression will be deflected here. Now we've got Frederick capturing this middle island here, failing to capture these metal extractors. Those are 2.2s, definitely well worth getting your grubby little mitts on. Instead, thinking about pushing up this lane, I have a feeling, yep, as soon as he sees those LOTs, he's gonna turn right around and decide to go for something else. Prioritizing eating up all these rocks over here, I think that's probably a pretty good idea. So the naval battle has been won right now by Pyrotech, meaning that Praetoric is in a little bit of a troubling situation. In a bit of a situation, to say the very least. Yeah, there's a lot of goons he has available here, and I guess these are going to jump on top of that frigate. Are they going to win, though? Oh, it doesn't look like it. Nope. Yeah, this frigate's pretty powerful. And pretty tanky as well. Now there's a lot of metal lying in the ocean right there. Naval vessels, naval ships, very, very powerful. Extremely powerful when you're starting to get into these high-level games. They can definitely, especially on maps like this, where there's open land right next to the Navy, they can start to do some tremendous work. Those ships tend to be much, much more powerful than any of the land-based forces here. Pro Randy has been given a console, and it looks like it's, oh no, it's not being transported. Where is it? There it is. It's all the way on its way. It looks like we're playing with a little bit of a tweaked unit setting. Or was this an official setting? I'm not sure. I'll have to go check the devlogs. But we do have the sprinters now instead of the welder and the hound. So we get the sprinter as well as the gunslinger and the recluse, all that stuff, which was pretty much stock standard. Nice little front line set up all over the place here. X Factor Live going for a little bit of heavy laser tower defense over here, actually. Going for one of those overwatches. The area control laser tower. Great for denying an area to a whole bunch of units, but not actually perfect for shutting down specific units, right? Like it's a damage over time thing, and it contributes the most when you can stall enemies just within its range, right? Beamer turrets functionally much better for melting down the armor on a lot of these vehicles here. They're excellent at dealing with these blitzes. Very, very powerful for dealing with blitzes. They can oftentimes shred those apart really nicely. They struggle a lot more against those medium tanks, though. Certainly they take quite a lot of time. Another low ground fight over here. We have Rocketeers, we have vehicles, we have all sorts of stuff from Pro Shim, and he's got a sizable force over here. We've got vehicles and we've got bots, both contributing on this front line here. Our Baron stepping very far forward, 23% on that commander. He's going to be forced to retreat backwards, I do believe. Yeah, there's not really going to be all too much that we can do about all those forces pushing in right now for our tan player up here. Up north, big old stalemate. Yep, those recluses are now being pumped out by the console over here. We're also working on a little bit of energy production, trying to get some T2 up and running, basically stepping into the new T2 era. Yeah, those rockets, man, those are so powerful, especially against the T1. Those recluses can be absolutely devastating. This is pretty cool. I feel like this is a interesting step away from the hounds, right? Just giving the court, or rather the Armada commanders or well, I guess anybody with a console, the ability to build the recluses rather than building the hounds. I feel like the hounds were a little too powerful, and I think in most part the community pretty much agreed. But yeah, I feel like the recluse is a better option, right? Certainly allows you to continue those sieges, but it's a little bit less powerful overall, except against static defense structures, making it a little more pointed. Landmines now cleared over here, inadvertently. Pawns now jumping on top of all these recluses. I'm glad to see that the consoles have found their element. They're now a consistent part of high-level gameplay, and that's really special to see. I've always felt like the Hounds should have been a part of high-level gameplay, specifically for this reason right here, where they can reinforce from the front lines with high-quality units, especially when you're in that early stage of going up against T1 with T2, that early T2. And you can see just a couple of gunslingers can really change the tides of a battle, especially against a vehicles player like this. I mean, these gunslingers could easily take down these lashers, definitely snipe the commander here too. Basically, all of this defense goes out the window to just a couple of gunslingers. Super powerful unit. Looks like Elmer Fudd has made a bold landing over on this area. He's claimed all the different metal extractors here. Nicely done. Where's that commander going? There we go. Say, he's trying to get down to the low ground. Thinking of jumping off the cliff, I suppose. This is really huge. These are 3.4 metal extractors, so having these under Elmer Fudd's thumb is definitely going to be a lot of metal going back to that commander, and you can see with more and more of these rocket spiders being produced in the backline here, actually not enough production to even drain the resources. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna start up some more build power here. I think it's a good idea. Yeah, that's quite nice. The weakest thing for the red team right now appears to be their air. However, there's not really a whole lot of air contest going on, so at the very least for right now, it's not going to be a tremendous issue. Gunslinger's trying to find the right engagement here. Yep, those vehicles are going to be great. Microing back the injured one, obviously the right decision there. Making sure that you're constantly keeping them in the fight, but also pulling them back when they most need it. Yeah, these ones are starting to get pretty low. It's time to start thinking about pulling these out of the fight here. There they go, though. Melting away all of that T1 right there. Very nicely done. Oh, Rocket Spider does land a couple of rockets. A little bit of a pause right there. Well, it does land the rockets and take down one of those gunslingers, but man, these are painful units to fight against, because if you don't kill them, then you've already lost. You basically can't trade efficiently against them. And there they go, tearing apart all of those whistlers over there. Rocket Spider is not going to have a great day against them either, as long as they're microed properly anyways. Rattlesnake was built up here by the console. Another one of those powerful options that the console can build. It's funny that we see both sides going heavily into this console type of warfare here. It really has taken over as the new meta. Yeah, this is quite powerful, huh? High Gains Commander, used to degun down a whole lot of these heavily armored forces. Not bad. Janus connections are huge too. Melting down some of those medium tanks and making for a really, really sizable connection right here. A Rattlesnake chipping away, long-range damage as well. Yeah, not to be underestimated. At this point, 8 kills under its belt, and I have a feeling it's only going to get more. Takes down a Spider, takes down a Janus. That is a great position for that static defense here. High Gain moving the commander out into the water. Oh, goes down to the very last rocket that Spider fired, though. That is a nice little snipe right there. X-Factor Live moving in to eat up that juicy, juicy commander wreckage. Not to understate, however, this massive reclaim field that's still available right on over here. The console is getting to work eating up some of that. That's very nice to see. Wouldn't mind seeing a build tower over here, a construction tower. Oh, we do have one. Well, maybe we'll start thinking about 3 or 4 more. Anything that basically allows for reclaim off this front line while the Rattlesnake is plopping away at whatever is coming towards it. Yeah, I think it might be well worth it. Also going to keep that Rattlesnake up at high health as well. Not going to be the end of the world. Platypus now moving across the waters. And this is one of the fun things about this map, right? You have all this water, and once you get into that hovercraft stage, you get into those ducks for Cortex, you get some of these Platypus for the Armada commanders, or you start getting into that T3, right? You get those hover tanks, you start getting into those Marauders, any of those amphibious units. The water starts to become a really huge liability, right? Randy with a huge hold on the front. Yeah, the entire northern side has collapsed. Randy now going up to a T2 Cortex vehicle bay. We have the units. Yeah, we do have the test units. Okay, cool. There they are. The printer. I really think the printer has a huge versatility. I think it's going to be extremely, extremely impactful. It allows you to reinforce your heavy hitter units, specifically things like mammoths or even Zars. Anything with basically a tremendous amount of HP. You can put a whole bunch of those nano printers behind, and they're gonna be way more durable, right? They're gonna be constantly getting healed by those printers in the backline. It's a really, really powerful way for Cortex factions to just get even more bulk out of their own units. You're essentially including medics, right? To compare this to StarCraft terms, you're basically including medevacs in your composition, which is just super powerful. Medevacs that can move while healing, by the way, might I add. Spider Wars are pretty funny, because yeah, the way that you kite these is by moving them parallel to each other. So if all the spiders are moving parallel with each other, nothing will happen. No damage will be done, which is pretty funny. Rattlesnake up here on the high ground. Nice positioning right there. Yeah, kind of shutting down this front line here for definitely not Prof, who's trying to go up to a proper T2 economy here. We've got the T2 lab going. We've got some T2 metal extractors up and running at this point. Even though we're doing T1 over here, that's quite funny. We've got the T2 lab up and running, and we are producing a whole bunch of these salamanders. They're also amphibious, which is important. Obviously, amphibious tanks, yeah, there they are. Amphibious tanks can traverse under the sea. That's where they be. Under the weather, that's where it's better. Under the sea. Spontaneous Little Mermaid reference aside. Yeah, these salamanders can definitely pop up and do a tremendous amount of damage. I'm actually a little surprised to see them not going for the kill over here. These could definitely pop up and do a huge amount of damage to the green player right now. Maybe we're just thinking about keeping them in reserve in case maybe we need to use these later on here. Whole bunch of platypus now for the purple player. It's going to be Row. Using platypus to shut down the platypus. It's, I mean, when in doubt, counter your enemy with the exact same unit and just more of them. That's viable. It's a different kind of a way of going about it, but yeah, it's definitely viable. You just go for more of the same kind of unit, and eventually you're going to be in a pretty good situation there. Rattlesnake firing away wherever it can. Aggression up on this northern side. Oh, wait, never mind. That's a constructor eating a whole bunch of plants. Vegan aggression right here, as these plants are consumed into that constructor's mouth. This looks a whole lot more cinematic, though. Recluse spiders firing away at that Janus. Ooh, yeah, taking some heavy hits, that Janus is. Boom, boom, boom. Down goes Janus. It's not the most precise weapon of war, the Recluse, but that's why it fires 3 rockets instead of 1. We now have some green spiders climbing up over and across this hill, trying to find some sort of a decent way to engage over here. I'm not sure how much value these are going to get, especially considering the reinforcing forces are now popping up here for our yellow player, definitely not Prof. Maybe they're going to be able to snipe this advanced metal extractor. They sure will. Salamander's pretty good. For those of you who haven't seen him, maybe this is your debut. Yeah, Salamander's pretty good. I like them quite a lot. I like them thematically, and I like them as far as their balance goes. I think they're pretty good. They fill a role that allows the Cortex commanders to have something that's a little bit better against spam, but not quite as costly as the Tiger. And also, laser weapons are also just pretty cool, right? Well, and they're heat weapons too, which is very thematic for Cortex. This is a nice little deflection over here, shutting down the Salamander with a whole bunch of platypus, sparing the green commander from losing basically everything over here. That's a really nice push. Kind of a bummer we didn't see those Salamander going in for the kill here. It looks like one of them was peeled off and did end up going towards the base, kind of wrapping around the forces of those platypus here. We do have a Resbot rather going to eat up all that wreckage. That is really nice. Something that's easy to forget, but if you manage to keep it under wraps, you can get a lot of value out of those units. Even if you lose your own units, you're not really losing all of your units, right? You're losing only about 30% of your army or so. I forget the exact number, but you're losing a fractional number if you can manage to reclaim. Huge bombing wave over here. We do have tons and tons of these Stormbringers here, or Whirlwinds rather. Going in for the kill on the advanced fusion reactor on Zhao. Oh, and they do get it. That fusion reactor pops. Advanced fusion reactor goes up in smoke. And that is all of Zhao's hard work down the drain to just a bunch of T1 bombers. Oh, that's gotta sting. I know Zhao was looking over at his teammate over here in green, wondering why the air support was not thick enough. But, you know, it comes down to everyone and having enough anti-air defense, especially if you're going to be going into some sort of a really greedy build. It definitely would be well worth throwing up at least one flak turret here. That's a heavy hit to the blue team now. And you can see the economic lead immediately in the favor of the red team, as they're now pumping in about 800 metal per second to the blue team's 500 to 600, depending on reclaim here. Somehow we've just streamed ticks across the map here. If it works, it works, and the ticks sure seem to be doing a decent job. At the very least, getting an excellent scout on the red team here, showing a tremendous amount of the, the forces and the buildings and all sorts of stuff that are available over on the backline here for the red player. Marauder have now been produced and are pumping their way out of the water, starting to make their way towards land. Pro Randy is going to need to take some desperate measures in order to keep these Marauder from devastating everything over here. There is a Scorpion turret that was built, and it's going to start firing away. That's nice, but it needed to be up 5 minutes ago. And also, yeah, we needed this. We needed 4 or 5. This is a lot of Marauders we're dealing with here. Down go a whole bunch of fusion reactors. For what it's worth, these Scorpion turrets are doing a damn good job. Trying to at the very least. Fusion fusion reactor after fusion reactor going down. And Marauders split and controlled perfectly here, popping all of the economy and then dipping away. They know that the commander is around here somewhere. They want to desperately avoid it. They can see it now as all that energy is down the drain right now for Randy, and that commander cannot afford to stay cloaked. Yeah, everyone funneling energy towards Randy right now. There's a D-gun. Connects with a whole bunch of those Marauder. Very nicely done. There's still one Marauder over here. Love to see this queued into the backlines. There's actually a couple of Marauders over here. Anti-air missile. Going to do a little bit of damage to the shurikens, especially if they're clumped up. Nope. Shurikens will win. A heavy hit, though. Certainly. Very heavy hit here. Pitbull on the front lines, deterring some of these forces from pushing in, but there are sharpshooters. Perfect for destabilizing any sort of static defense over here. Nicely done. One shot at a time, the sharpshooters will eventually whittle down the forces over here for the red player. Randy going to be forced to go back into T1 here, going to need to immediately start getting out some res bots to patch all this economy back up. Try and get them back into this game here. The economy is now looking a little bit more similar here. 700-ish for the blue team, almost 800 to 900 for the red team. Sharpshooter wave marching its way forward over here. Not sure exactly what they're firing at. Maybe that metal extractor there. Missing a lot of their shots, which is one of the unfortunate pitfalls of the sharpshooter. However, as soon as these make contact with that advanced geothermal, it's going to pop. And there goes the yellow player's advanced geothermal. 1,250 energy per second right down the drain right there. Yeah, that's a heavy blow. Sharpshooters aren't dealt with yet either. This is a tricky one to deal with, especially as a vehicles player. How do you deal with this many sharpshooter? They basically hard countered your unit composition over here. I think there's a commander left in wait over there. But yeah, what do you do? I mean, you can run from it, you can hide from it. Destiny still arrives. The sharpshooters are encroaching on your base at a steady pace. The welders are included here to shut down any sort of a tick spam, meaning that any amount of rovers or ticks or anything lightweight that you throw at this is just going to get melted away by the lightning blast, the chain react from those welders. This is a really devastating push here. This is meant to be a game ender from some old guy. He's ready to push for a victory here. Tanks moving in from the side, trying to be careful with those sharpshooters. You can't afford to lose any of them. Firepower they put out is just too much to live without. Might just be enough medium tank or enough heavy tanks here. These Tigers are very quick, very sturdy. Indeed, it does look like, wow, what a bloody battle. Welders all over the place firing on these medium tanks, but it looks like they're just going to be sturdy enough to repel the forces of the blue player. A whole bunch of res bots were produced here, but they weren't quite able to reclaim a lot of that wreckage. And you know what? That was repelled quite nicely. Definitely a great move right there by Definitely Not Prof to group up a whole bunch of those tanks so they could go for one overwhelming push here. And now to the victor go the spoils, as there is now thousands and thousands of metal worth of reclaim over here. With that geothermal going down, we definitely need to see another fusion reactor coming up, if not an advanced fusion reactor for Definitely Not Prof. Definitely struggling on that energy crisis right now. We have a resign vote called for our Baron's team. Looks like, yeah, the blue team starting to suffer from the T3 transition here. So that raceback getting tremendous value over on this side. This is what I love about the pros. They're not hesitant with those T3 units. They know exactly how to use them to get a tremendous amount of value out on the other side of the map, and that's exactly what these racebacks are meant to do. Perfect for blasting down these forces, and indeed, it does look like the blue team realizes that their time is up. Marauders were incurring on their side of the map as well, and it was only a matter of time before the overwhelming flood of forces from the red team managed to push them back. What an epic game. Love these pro level matches because they get to the aggression so quickly. We get all the way up to T3 before we even hit the 23-minute mark. It's just, I mean, beautiful. Mwah. Shows you just how much you can do, especially when I compare this to my own gameplay, right? You see how much the pros can do in such a little amount of time, and you're just sitting there thinking, man, how did I all go wrong? Anywho, I sure hope you enjoyed today's cast. I hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving, or had a lovely Thanksgiving, whichever it may be, depending on your time zone. Actually, I guess this will release on Thanksgiving night, so I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving, and more than that, I hope you just have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the very next Beyond All Reason video. Peace out, folks.